I don't know whether this has been talked about on your program before, but Christopher Rufo, who is a conservative activist, is really the guy that popularized it through Fox News and by bringing up those three letters, CRT, critical race theory, over and over again. He very deliberately said, we're going to use this critical race theory idea to annex every progressive idea that Americans don't like. And when he says Americans, he means conservative Americans. Everything that we don't like, we're just going to put under the umbrella of CRT. And he was super effective at doing that. Okay. And so usually when I hear CRT mentioned, it's not actually reflecting what real CRT is. And so, Neil Shenby, I know Neil's been a guest. He's done a very good job, I think, of showing that there's something called critical social justice, and there's sort of this critical progressive movement that's taking place. It's really a political movement. And that's a whole nother discussion then that involves sexuality and gender, and it involves, DEI and all these other components of trying to bring a progressive worldview to bear on America. But critical race theory is actually really just wanting us to look at race and racialization and what it means to have lived in a culture that spent 400 years literally making race a big deal. And then all of a sudden in the 1960s passed a few laws and said, okay, we're good now. We can stop talking about race. We're not going to make a big deal about it. In fact, it's illegal to put signs up that say that blacks can't eat here or whites only and these sorts of things. It's illegal now, so we're good. Let's just act like that never happened. And these theorists said, well, that's just ridiculous. There are tons of consequences to having lived this way for 400 years. It doesn't just evaporate. And if we really just look in our field, which is law, there are still laws in place that actually make it so that inequality is almost inevitable. And that's the work that they were doing. They were looking at how power works through law to maintain inequalities between people, and especially looking through the lens of race, which is actually super fascinating stuff. So most of the time when people are upset about CRT, that's not what they're responding to. You know what I mean, Eric? It's like people aren't reading law documents or trying to understand how local laws even work in their community, which is still a fascinating thing to dig into.
Yeah.
It's something else. So I wanted to clear some of that up. I wanted to slowly look at the different theoretical lenses that CRT, the original critical race theorists, were asking us to look through and see, what do we see and what does it mean for the church?
Yeah.
What would the church's response be if we looked through those lenses in a nonpartisan way and asked ourselves hard questions?
Right. Yeah, and just to be clear for anybody watching and listening right now, Ed, you are not a proponent of critical theory or critical race theory. You are not saying that it's the right way. You're not defending it really in any fundamental way. You are trying to get Christians to understand that there is something worth understanding about CRT and critical theory writ large, but there's in particular something worth listening to. There's a heartbeat underneath the noise of CRT and our cultural conversation that Christians and churches better listen to, lest the church and the kingdom of God pay some price for it. And I think that's worth saying.